I'm told we have a little bit of a surprise for Mr. Roger. Your wife, Jeanne, wants to say a few words.
I want to see where he is. Okay. When I committed to myself to make this speech honoring Roger, I went on the internet and looked for tips on public speaking. One of the most common was to bring your lucky charm up with you. Well, I couldn't do that because Roger's sitting down there at the table. And now I'm losing my voice also. So I called my daughter earlier and I said, if I can't finish the speech, would you come up and finish it? And she said, oh no. But she didn't mean because I was going to lose my voice. She didn't care about that. It was because I was going to try to make a speech. What are you looking at, Raj? My name is Jeanne Magowitz, Roger's wife, and we've been married for 35 years. I want to thank everyone for coming and supporting Roger, Dr. Von Hoff, and the continued efforts of the Seena Magowitz Foundation. So I'll take this opportunity to share a few words of what it's been like watching Roger grow the foundation and what it is that drives him so. I also want to take a minute to remember Seena Magowitz, the foundation's namesake, without whom none of us would be here tonight. If you don't ask, you don't get. That was Seena's motto, and one Roger has continued since her passing from pancreatic cancer. I also have a motto. You don't have to do what your mother-in-law says, but you have to let her say it. I can't get my papers. It's been 18 years since that day, the day the doctor delivered news no one should ever hear, that Roger's mother, Seena, had stage 4 pancreatic cancer. Our lives would never be the same as they were before we entered that room. Seena was energetic and effervescent, someone who knew how to work a room. She was also intensely philanthropic, despite working hard to support herself and her sons as a single mom. She and Roger's grandmother devoted considerable time to raising funds for cancer research, long before the disease ever affected her directly. My mother, Janice, was one of Seena's closest friends. Despite their considerable differences, their opposing personalities complemented one another, to the point where many of us joked together that together they were one person. Seena was an undeniable social butterfly, while my mother more of an introvert. Their friendship was unlike any I've ever seen. In fact, my mother moved in with Seena following her diagnosis and even shared a bed with her the final weeks so she wouldn't be alone. Ultimately, Seena passed with my mother beside her. One of the things I remember most about their bond is just how much they accomplished together and how much their opposing talents and traits complemented rather than conflicted with one another's. The same can be said for the relationship that exists today between Roger and Dr. Von Hoff. The relationship they share isn't typical, nor are the strides that they've made together since joining forces in the fight against pancreatic cancer. While their personal and professional differences are notable, also is their shared understanding of what it's like to be in that room during a pancreatic cancer diagnosis. This sentiment is primarily what drives Roger and also why he started the Seena Magowitz Foundation. Years ago, I uncovered a note written on old yellowed paper Roger authored back when he was about 8 years old. "Dear Mommy," it said, "when I'm a big boy and make lots of money, you can quit your job." Signed, Roger Magowitz. While I can only imagine what it was like the first of probably thousands of times she read that sweet note, I can say with 100% certainty she'd even be prouder of her son today. Looking around this room, I see survivors and their family members, many of whom have experienced firsthand Roger's devotion to honoring his mother's name and legacy. I see supporters, many of whom were among the first to step forward when Roger began exercising his motto, "If you don't ask, you don't get." And finally, I see how the love a little boy had for his mother paved the way for lasting, meaningful, and long overdue changes in the fight against pancreatic cancer. To Roger.
For someone who had to Google public speaking, that was one hell of a speech.